that with something that's actually making you money. Treat your menu board like it's real estate. You need to adjust this and focus on the things that are actually making money. If you always have the same static message up there and no one is ordering the things off that menu board, you're not really doing a good job of advertising. That's why you treat it as real estate. Every little thing on there is expensive. One of the things that I think is kind of unique is I read a story about Costco years ago and how they determine where things are and what they're going to sell. They actually assign a dollar amount to every square foot of their store. This is how much this section costs. This item has to earn X amount of dollars per square foot for it to be there. If it doesn't sell, we move it. If it doesn't sell, we stop carrying it. You can do that in your store with your menu board. Make sure that what's up there. But the only way you can do that is if you actually know if it's selling. And the only way you actually know if it's selling is if you track it. The other thing that we want to do is we want to evaluate high profit menu categories, right? Because we want to make sure that we're selling those. If you've got something that gets you a good profit and it's not selling, that's when we want to take technology and hopefully use this, make a force modifier. Ask everyone, hey, would you like X? Now let's say it's a pastry or whatever it is, this item is, but you make a good margin on it. Those are the items that you want to sell to keep you in business, okay? So that's when you want to start introducing them to your customers. Do the sampling and all the things you'll hear about here at Coffee Fest. And then also make sure that you're using your force modifiers to introduce them to customers. Print that coupon on the bottom of the receipt. If you've got, I don't know if some of you have seen the new thing is the order screens that face the customer. Not the little poll display things, but the order screens that have graphics on them. You know, show a picture on there of what it is so that customers start asking you about it. High profit items, obviously, you know, help you stay in business. How many people here do inventories? That's good. That's real good. My experience is usually about 20% of coffee shop owners actually do an inventory. Most of them, their idea of inventory is they walk in the store and they go, oh, it looks like we're missing this. And then they reorder that. They're not actually counting and tracking what's going on. I'm a big fan of inventory control. And I know that the excuse that people give is it's labor intensive. Receiving an item in and then you know, counting it after the fact can be labor intensive. The interesting thing is McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, all of these chains do it. They do inventories on a very regular basis. I cannot fathom that a McDonald's employee cares more about McDonald's than one of your baristas cares about your shop. Because I've never seen a McDonald's employee cook a burger and go, I don't think I made that right. I'm going to make another burger for this guy because that one's not going to taste good. However, I have had baristas, you know, pull a shot and go, no, I'm not going to serve that to a customer, and they do it again. I've never seen a McDonald's employee go home and flip burgers at home to try and perfect his technique. Okay? But baristas will do this. So we obviously have intelligent staff. We have people that are passionate about the store. Inventory control is very important. How much money is being lost because we're not doing inventory control? That's the question you got to ask yourself. I've seen, I have a customer of mine on the East Coast, and before he ever used our point of sale system, we had a big conversation about inventory, and he started to track manually inventory control. In 3 stores, he found that he was losing $9,000 a year in milk waste. $9,000 a year. That's crazy. He got it down to $6,000 a year. Still not perfect, but you know, he's making $3,000 more than he thought. You know, that's $1,000 per store. Over time, all of this adds up. And well, there's a lot of ways to use inventory control. There's different things. There's portion control, you know, making baristas and the food prep better at controlling waste. You know, so showing them exact portions. Some of this is a little more food-oriented in some cases, depending on your store. But showing your staff exactly how something should be made. When you make this drink, I want exactly 1 pump of this in it. I don't want you to do a pump and a half sometimes or a 3/4 pump sometimes. I always want it to be 1 pump. That way I know how much, you know, is going into that drink and I have a consistent product. And from a tracking standpoint, I don't have waste. One of the things that we really see with inventory control is usually we see, here's what we started with, here's what we ended with, this is what we used. Okay? It's a pretty simple formula. What technology and point of sale systems give you is we started with this, we ended with this, so we know what we used. It fills in the other piece of the equation. Here's what we should have used. That's really the true question. So if I start with 10 and I end with 5, we used 5 of whatever it is, gallons of milk, pastries, doesn't matter. But the point of sale system can go back through all the tickets and tell you, you know what? You should have only used 4. So you're short 1. Maybe 1 gallon of milk isn't a big deal over a week or a month. Okay? But when you put a dollar amount on that, it starts to be a big deal, especially when you add up every single one of these items. If I tell you you're short X amount of this, it doesn't really sink in. If I tell you you're short $300 this month in inventory control because of improper waste management, $300 is $300, right? I don't know any of you that would kind of throw that away. And this is what we see stores do because they're not doing proper inventory control. If we're doing better tracking of our product, then that leads to less waste, okay? Because now we're on top of it. Knowing what's happening from a waste standpoint 6 months down the road doesn't really do anything for you. You have to be able to catch it on a daily basis. And that's how we can do this with inventory controls through this. The other thing that happens with this, with tracking inventory control, is what if you decide to sell your store? You know, not everyone wants to be in this for the rest of their lives. And when you do decide to sell, if you can show this to the new owner, here's what we've got. We've got it, you know, on average a 30% cost of goods sold. Here's what we're doing from a waste standpoint every month. That's great. That tells that owner that you are indeed a profitable shop. You know, when this new owner comes in and starts asking questions of you, and you don't have those answers, chances are you're not going to get as much for your store as you might want in some cases. All of this, by the way, gets into tracking labor cost as well. How many people actually track a labor percent on a daily basis? Okay, so I see a couple hands here. One of the things that's really kind of interesting, it's a new technology that you're going to see some of the companies out there doing is, let me ask one question. How many people here own a store right now? Okay, how many of you are off-site owners? How many of you are not in the store on a daily basis or at least once a day? All of you are in the store at least once a day? Good. Okay, so one of the tools that we've got here is when you're not in the store, okay, at all, is there's a method to have some of this reporting actually sent to you remotely, sent to your cell phone, etc. And the reason I say this is labor percentages are really important, but the problem is most people only look at them at the end of the day. Oh, look at that. We had a 28, 30%, 40% labor cost today. That's great, but we can't do anything about it because it's very reactive. So what these tools let you do is see this labor. Go ahead.
So we're looking in the future of possibly opening a shop.
Okay.
So I don't know what labor percentage means.
Oh, okay. So what that is your total sales and your total labor dollar amount. So that gives you a percent. So if you've got a 30% labor cost, that means 30% of everything you did that day went to labor. Okay? It's a really important figure. It's one of the only figures you guys can control on a daily basis. You can say, you go home, and that cuts your labor cost. Okay? It's a fine line because you have to have enough employees to handle the volume that you've got. But the thing I've seen is if we're very reactive about this, if we're actually looking at labor at the end of the day, then we're not able to make a decision about, send someone home. We can go, gosh, we should have sent someone home. We'll try to do a better job tomorrow. So some of these tools allow you to see this on the fly. They allow you to see this, every hour. They automatically report it to you every hour. We have some tools that will send it right to your phone every hour what your labor cost and then sales and all sorts of other stuff. But the labor cost is real important. I have a drive-through down in Tacoma, and she's not on site all the time. It's a small drive-through. The owner doesn't work it all the time. She has staff that does that. And she stays on top of this. She'll call her store and go, why do we have 34% labor? That's going to kill us. That eats into our profit. The person in the store goes, gosh, I didn't know that it was that slow, because they're standing around talking, obviously. So one of them needs to go home. All of this kind of stuff is done through point-of-sale systems. You can track some of this through Excel or through other computerized systems. The point-of-sale is going to be the easiest way to get those numbers automatically. This is my favorite slide here. Is this the scene at your store? How many people have theft in their store? Or better yet, how many of you think you have no theft in your store? None whatsoever. Okay. I saw one hand. Are you the only person working there? Okay.